Welcome back, everyone. 16 minutes after the top of the hour, new details now unraveling from the Inspector General's latest Fast and Furious report, pinning the blame of the failed gun-running operation on mismanagement from Arizona's Department of Homeland Security. The report claims that the Arizona DHS knew criminals were smuggling guns into Mexico and that they didn't do anything to report the illegal activity to officials outside of the state. Joining me now is Katie Pavlich. She's a news editor at townhall.com and a Fox News contributor who's done extensive research on this topic. Good morning to you, Katie.
Good morning.
So what do you make of this report that the people inside of the Department of Homeland Security in Arizona were culpable to a certain extent, but that nobody at the federal level actually was informed about Fast and Furious?
Well, it's kind of the same story that we've heard all along, right? Is mismanagement within the Department of Homeland Security and within the Department of Justice, miscommunication about what was actually going on. Now, this report doesn't necessarily hold anyone accountable for what happened. We had one agent from ICE assigned to Fast and Furious specifically to work with ATF named Lane France. Now, Agent Lane France filed hundreds of reports to Homeland Security and ICE, and yet no one in Washington, D.C. claims to have read those reports. So here we are with another report showing a gross disregard for public safety and overall human life in the end.
Except that it's an Inspector General report, and usually they're supposed to be non-biased, correct?
They are supposed to be non-biased. When you look at the timeline here, there are some discrepancies. Fox News' William Lajeunesse reported in December of 2012, or February of 2012, I believe, that ICE Director John Morton opened up an investigation into Fast and Furious, an inquiry right after Brian Terry was killed in December of 2010. Yet this Inspector General's report says that nobody outside of Arizona, specifically in Washington, D.C. and Homeland Security and ICE, really knew about this until March of 2011 when Congress opened their investigation. So the timeline, once again, as we've seen on the Department of Justice side, doesn't really add up. And that's a problem when it comes to what people are saying under oath, what Janet Napolitano has said under oath, what her involvement was with Attorney General Eric Holder. There are still lots of questions on that as well.
So you do not believe that it's feasible that Janet Napolitano did not know about this before she said she did?
It really is implausible that Janet Napolitano is getting off scot-free with this report. Let me tell you why. Former U.S. Attorney Dennis Burke, who was in charge of the Department of Justice side of Operation Fast and Furious in Arizona, has a long-standing personal and professional relationship with Janet Napolitano. He served as her staffer when Janet Napolitano was the Attorney General in Arizona, as her Chief of Staff when she was Governor of Arizona, followed her into Washington, D.C. as her advisor for Homeland Security for a year before being appointed back to U.S. Attorney by President Obama. At the same time he was in Arizona, he was serving on Attorney General Eric Holder's Attorney General's Advisory Board. And he was with Janet Napolitano 2 days after the murder of Brian Terry in Arizona. And yet this report claims they never talked about the case. But it seems as if Janet Napolitano would ask about it at least.
All right. Katie Pavlich, who has a lot of information on this topic, thanks much.
Thank you.